and welcome back to Broerman Farmstead. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That way you can see our videos every Sunday at 9 a.m. when they release. So today, we're working on the barn project again. I've gotten a little bit done since I've last brought you around for this. I've got the water tank set, the water line hooked up, and the electric to it. I did test it out the other day. When I was working on this a little bit, I ended up putting a little water in here, and I didn't realize I didn't have this float on yet. So I actually overflowed the tank out onto the floor. It's dried pretty well, but it's still just a little damp. So I'll turn this water back on, see if we can fill this bowl up. I'd like to leave about an inch or two of space between this top lip of the tank. About an inch and a half. Still not there. Let's see, just if we raise this up, how much? Oof. Gotta go by another half inch. That's gonna be less than an inch from the top. So I'm gonna go ahead until I'm done with this project here. I'd hate for this thing to end up overflowing without me paying attention to it. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it off. Hopefully I can get the gate built and put up here pretty soon. I can take these red gates down, move the cattle chute over, and let these two heifers start drinking out of here, and we'll really put it to the test then. I moved the cow's water tank from down there to this center divider wall to make it a little easier to water. The vet did suggest getting not a protein tub, but an energy tub for these calves. And good news, which was surprising to me, our results came back from our BVD test, or tissue test we took, and none of these calves have it. So at this point, the thought is that we had a really bad viral infection come through, and it took two of the calves. The thought is we keep these calves on a medicated water for a short period of time here, but they'll come out of this. So now we got that hydrant in the front room here. I've got a garden hose hooked up in here, since it is warmer in here than anywhere else in the barn. Shut that door. And we'll fill that water tank from inside instead of from a hydrant outside the barn. Nah, it's just over half full. We'll finish that. Calves seem to be very content with this cold weather. It's about 30 degrees out now. And they all seem to be looking a lot better than they had been. There's Lakota. Lakota here, for a while, had a front leg that was starting to act up for her. It was hurting her. She'd limp around a little bit, so we kept her in here, and she did have some lung issues. These two steers we haven't named, because the other steers are not going to stay. But all the heifers we named, because we plan to keep them. I'd like to breed them and start our own little herd here. Well, that water's about done, so we'll go ahead and turn that off. That way we don't overflow that tank, and we'll reel this hose up. Disconnect the hose, that way the water can drain down. That's what makes these a freeze-proof hydrant, because when the water drains back down below the frost level, it can't freeze. If you leave a hose hooked up to it, like I did this last year outside, well, there's going to be water in the hose that'll freeze, and water in the hydrant, and you'll crack your hydrant. Ask me. I know, because I did it last year. That wasn't good. We've been doing cattle for about, I gotta look at my records, 7 years. I gotta look at my records, but it's either been 7 or 10 years now. I gotta look back at it. But for the longest time, I'd go around and buy calves from local sale barns. Producers has one down in Eaton, Ohio. I'd go down there. It was hard to find good calves. Not just good calves, but just calves for sale at all. You go to an auction and you'd spend, for me it's almost an hour drive down there. There'd be 5 calves for sale. Bunch of fats, some old bulls, maybe an old cow or two, but not too many calves. So for a while there, I ended up going down to Hillsboro, Ohio, to the Union stockyard down there. They ran a lot of calves through, a lot of very good-looking calves, a lot of good-looking cattle down there. And we bought calves from down there for about 3 years. A couple years ago, before calf prices went crazy high, we started raising bottle calves. We did about 2 years of that, and we had good luck with them. I bought them from a local dairy farmer friend of mine over one town over and raised them up. So we had a closed herd here. And these two heifers are the last of the ones that we raised up from bottle calves. I'm planning on keeping them. We're going to breed them along with all the heifers in this small group. But I stopped getting bottle calves after they went over $375 a piece. At that point, it was past the point of me being able to put milk replacer, feed, and time into them and be money ahead. I waited for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years, and hadn't bought any calves at all because I had a group. I had actually 2 groups started in here. Well, this last group here, cattle prices hadn't come down. Bottle calves in our area are going for anywhere from $800 to $1,200 a piece, depending on what they are. So I can't justify getting bottle calves at $800 to $1,200 when I could buy 300 to 500 pound calves for the same amount. A bottle calf at $800, by the time you put $200 to $300 in milk replacer, feed, and not even including your time into that calf to get it up to this weight, I just can't see doing it. A couple day old bottle calf, you have a higher chance of losing them versus these. I know I haven't had the best luck with this group, but I can only imagine how much more trouble I would have had if they had been little bottle calves. But all in all, this group is starting to look really good. This energy tub is working out well for them. And everything in here that I keep calling a steer, well, it's actually a bull calf yet. Because of all the stress from being sick, I've been waiting to castrate them. I'm not going to castrate one of these calves when they're already under a lot of stress from their sickness. So I'm going to let them get to the point where they're definitely feeling a lot better. We'll go ahead and we'll castrate them, turn them into steers. And before you guys get too worried, these wires here are disconnected. That was from when I was working on this room a couple years ago. I wasn't going to put a heater over there. I decided not to. None of those wires are live. They are disconnected way back in the box. But I would like to get a water heater put in here pretty soon. So what I've got left to do on this side is mount 2 more boards like this, here and here. Just like this side over here. And then I'm going to go ahead and mount 3 gate hangers on this side and build a wooden gate to go between these 2 points. I want this gate, when I get it built, to be able to swing 90 degrees outside and at least 90 degrees to the inside. So the first board down on the bottom here, I did take a level to make sure we were starting with a level surface. I went off of that. But for the rest of these, I've been just measuring up 5.5 inches or sticking a 2x6 between them, either or, to get my gap. And to make this come out real nice and clean, I've been actually cutting into my 2x10 that's been cut down to a true 8-inch wide board and making a real nice clean edge. Not so much, I'm not worried about it looking the best. It's not for looks. But when I do ever load cattle up over here, I don't want them to get caught on an edge. I want this to be a nice smooth transition for them. That way if they're pushing up against something, they're not getting caught on things. So having that nice edge like that, I'm hoping helps. Take my 1.5 inches, follow that down. Won't be exact. And I've got a nice chunk here identified to be cut out. I'm not sure what the exact name is for this tool. It's oscillating saw. I've been taking that to cut these notches out. And it'd probably be quicker if I took my circular saw and made these 2 cuts top and bottom, but you know what? Let's do that. I guess that makes that easier. Well, I apologize. I'm normally really good at making sure my mic's on. Ashley and the youngest one came out here to get me to grab a couple Christmas trees for him, and I realized I didn't have it on. Apologize for that. Hopefully everything I filmed so far you can hear okay. But let's get back at cutting this. Well, it's not the straightest cut I've made so far. Might have to take just a little bit out of the top here. I'm gonna get a board, put it up here, and see how it looks. Oh, that's real nice. That's really nice. I've been using my Milwaukee nailer to nail all this together. I'm gonna nail this side. I'm not gonna nail this one yet. I did do the other side that way, where I actually nailed the boards to that 6x6. But I got a gate latch I want to put on here, and I'm probably going to end up cutting one of these off, and I don't know which one it is yet. I'll probably line the inside with a 6x6 to be able to nail whichever ones to. That way it's nice and sturdy yet. But I don't want to nail it and have to undo it here in a couple hours. Come back and trim them out. I got one more to put it on the top. I'll start building a gate. So I've got my top board on. I'm going to use a 2x4 on the back side to nail those other ones too. That's an awfully tight fit. Let's see. It's not bad. That's pretty good. We'll go ahead. Nail all those. Ought to be more than plenty. Then we'll probably cut this board out because I want to mount this style of gate latch in here. And with the spacing that I chose, you know, there really isn't a good spot unless I cut this one out. Up here would probably be a little too ridiculous height-wise. Man, it's at my shoulder. Down here, probably be about right. And mount a little bit lower, mount a little bit higher. Don't exactly know. Yeah, I like that. My saw is still set to 1.5 inch depth. We'll have to put it down lower, that way the bolt from the latch can go underneath that 2x6. But even that's pretty good height. I like that. I like that very much. I'll have just enough room to put a carabiner on here. That way the steers or cattle can't somehow pick one of these up with their tongues, because they like to play with things and get out. So the post that I'll be putting all my hangers on will be this one. We'll mark 2 inches here. Now I'm going to take a level to mark the rest of them based off of my 2-inch mark down here. And without surprise, I thought I had these posts pretty level, but apparently I did not. I'll mark all of them based on that level. So when I go and drill my holes and put these in, or this should keep the gate plumb this way. Now the other thing that's going to affect where these hinges are on here is how straight I can drill through these posts. If anybody in the future has a trick on how to keep these level or straight when you're drilling, let me know. I'm going to do my best eyeballing this. And it didn't like that battery. Different battery. Give us a try again. Oh, it's because I have it set too low. That's why. Okay, before I get too crazy and drill the other 2 holes, I'm going to test fit this one. All right, I like that. I think that'll work well. We can go ahead and drill the next one then. Yeah, preliminarily, we'll check plumbness here, and that's pretty damn close. I have a feeling it's going to be out going this way, and it is. I'm going to have to bring it in right now about 3/8 to 1/2 inch. I'll leave that out just a little bit. Start a couple more. We'll get them all started first. We'll grab them home. That latch should be really nice now. I measured my distance from one wall to the other. Counting for my latches, my gate will be 126 inches long. I've already got a 2x10 cut on either side to make the ends of the gates, and I'm starting to cut 2x6s to fill in. I got my first 2x6 cut at 126 inches. I'll line this up. So I've got my top and bottom board for the gate cut. Lay them out. 48 inches. The other 2x10's already cut to 48. I'll mark this one at 48 as well. We have something to line up my board with. Take my square, make a line across it. Okay. I'll start lining up my ends of the board. Put one nail in the corner there. This one's at 48. Nail. I'll line up my far side corners. Nail, corner. I'll take my tape measure and measure diagonally to make sure that we have our gate square before I go ahead and start nailing the rest of it together. I got 134 3/4. $134 3/4. Wow! I did not expect it to be square already. Pop another nail in each corner. And that should hold the gate square. Cut 2 more 2x6s. I'll lay them in between. Make my last 2 cuts here. Lay out my other 2 boards. Now we got the gate mostly nailed together. I can go ahead and stand it up. Okay, I would like to put some cross bracing on this, being that that top metal strap will be up here. So I'd like to put some sort of brace. Heck yeah, that'll work. And I have a feeling I'll be fighting these otherwise. So I'm working on mounting up these nice straps. I did have to put an extra 2x6 in here just so I can catch the back side of my bolts. So my next strap is actually going to come right across the top of this edge. I'll drill my couple of holes and I should have enough meat on here now to mount my brackets. Now I've got those 2 brackets on, I should be able to hang this gate. As for how I'm going to do it, I'm not sure. Because that is a lot of weight to lift up. I've got an idea. I went and took my chain hoist off my A-frame overhead hoist down in the shop. I'm going to hang it from this beam and use it to lift the gate up. That ought to work really well. The gate's picking up and this side's drooping down because it weighs more and I probably don't have it exactly centered. But that's fine because I'll have to manipulate this side regardless. And there, the gate's hung. This gate swings really nice. So I got the latch attached. I did have to trim this board and cut this section out here. So that's pretty nice. Swing it both directions. I got plenty of engagement on the bolt there, so that should be really good.